Welcome back, guys. This new episode still on the fastest finger calculator app we are creating. So yeah, we'll be continuing from where we stopped last stream, which is actually yesterday. Yeah, if I'm saying yeah, that was yesterday. So yeah, I'm back. So actually a bit late today. Was hoping I would have started earlier, but something came up. So yeah, that's that. Um, is there any other stuff we're missing in our introduction? Yeah, I think is there if there's any other stuff that's missing is basically trying to tell the new guys who are joining me for the first time to subscribe to the channel and also hit the bell button so that you guys will be notified of any new uploads. And I think that's it. So do try and subscribe to the channel. Yeah, after that I'll be moving straight to the what we'll be doing today. So you guys that were with me yesterday, kind of like we did a lot yesterday whereby we were able to port the game to the mobile app. So because it was on desktop, so I built it on desktop during my free time. So we're able to actually build it on mobile app and also build it on. Did we actually do it on web? Well, no, we didn't do it on web, but I later converted it to web. But I'll actually show you guys how it works on the web version. Also after that, and I also show you guys how I was able to port the whole app functionality to use a single state management library to control the whole app functionality. I will show you guys what I did there, and hopefully, not hopefully, we'll actually be doing it ourselves today. Trying to make other platforms to work with the state management. The state management that we created, and basically the logic for our app. I think the right words to use for this is basically the logic, the logic system for our app, So that's that. So that's what we'll be doing for now. So basically, if I kind of like rush this app, trying to run this on iOS, not on iOS, on web, so you guys should actually see how this works on web. So we select the web version and basically go ahead and run this. Let's keep our fingers crossed and just wait for this to launch. Kind of like usually takes not quite that much time. Actually, it's around 1 minute. Yeah, I think 1 minute is even much. A few seconds should be enough for it to load. Yeah, I think it's up. Bring it over here. So there you go. So this is basically our web version. I'm not talking about the implementation because we have done this for quite a long time. I'm talking about the game plan. So I also included before we change over to the game plan, I also included the slider, basically the drawer on the web, so you can actually, because we have the drawer on mobile, so I decided to include it on the web so I can be able to do the whole stuff that I want to do inside the slider, inside the drawer. So right now let's try to play the game on the web. So you see that. So I already know what the first equation will be. That's area of a square, which should give us 64. You're going to see the question that is going to be asked. So you see that calculate the area of a square given the side HTML formula, and you're gonna show us, I got the answer correct. So ask you second question, and if you're not pretty fast enough to answer this, so it's gonna drop you. So this is wrong right now, so we got the wrong answer because we didn't do anything. So it told us that okay, the answer we added here is actually not the answer that is expecting. So that's why it's showing us the red color. That the red color actually did shows that that we answered the question wrong, or that our time is up. Basically our time is up and we got the question wrong. So that's what the red color over there is all about. So that's the game playing on web. So you can actually pause the game or stop it entirely by tapping on any of this. So if you tap on this, tap on that, the game stops. So that's it. So that's how to actually pause the game or stop the game. So I think that's the path for this right here. Next stuff we'll actually be doing is basically so from those of you that were with me yesterday, so remember I actually moved this app to actually, whenever we are doing division with a integer type, it should actually give us a value. Let's say if you're doing a division with a real integer type that has no remainder, so 8 divided by 2 has no remainder, so that should give us around 4, which is an integer type. But if you guys could remember yesterday, whenever you do a division that doesn't have a remainder, it always returns a double type for us. I'm going to show you the guys what I mean by that. So if I head over here, so I'm going to use the mobile version to show you guys. Before I do that, I'm going to return this divided. So for the web, I'm going to set this, return this. Before I actually take you guys around what I did here was the solution to the problem. So this is the real stuff, how it was before yesterday, before I actually did any changes on it. So if I go ahead and run this on mobile, that means we have to stop the web version. So if you run this on mobile, so this is the mobile version, and go ahead and say run. So I have to kind of like give it some time to actually pick up and present itself to us. Yeah. For those of you seeing me for the first time with the spec, I've been having some little issues with the screens because I've been staying long. I always stay long on the screen trying to do one or two stuff or other stuff. So I've been kind of like having this issue with my eyes, so I need to get a spec so not to get it worse. Not as bad, kind of like bad so far. Just trying to prevent any further damage from happening. So I got a UV light spec. Yeah, kind of like a spec. It kind of like reduces the UV light that goes straight into my eyes. So let's see this in action. So I'm going to say 8 divided by 2, and you see this returns 4.2. So this is what I was talking about. It returns 4.2 instead of returning a whole number, because 8 divided by 2 should give us a whole number and not a decimal number or double in programming. Yeah, in programming we call it double or floating point numbers or precision numbers, but in real world we call it decimal place numbers or something like that. So the reason why this is happening, because on a normal other programming languages, or most programming languages, or even in the normal world, you already know that division of two whole numbers that doesn't have a remainder always returns a whole number and not a decimal place number. So but this is kind of like giving us not that the answer is wrong, but kind of like the way it's actually expressing it is wrong. So that kind of like the reason that kind of like brings us to the explanation to why this is happening. So the reason why this is happening is what we call in Flutter compiled time and runtime type. So compiled time type and runtime type is the issues that we're having here. So whenever you are doing a division and into any division on runtime using Flutter, you are always going to get these stuff, even if it's also a compile time, you're also going to get this, because if you are trying to check this right now, so let's take a look. So yeah, I did something here, right, whereby I say 8 divided by 2, that also gave me 4.0. So even if in compile time and also runtime, that still gives you a double, returns a double. So that's the reason for that. So the reason for that is because like I said, Flutter returns double for every division. That's a simple explanation to that. Flutter always returns a double for any single division you are doing. Even if you are doing an integer division, it converts this to integer division to a double. So if you take a look over here, you're going to see 8 divided by 2 is returning 4.0 instead of 4. And if you check the compile time, the runtime type, so you can actually check a runtime type of any value using this function right here, and it's going to return that. So it's returning that this is a double, while actually the runtime type of this should actually be an int, but due to Flutter always returning double for any division, so it says that the runtime type is double. But if you want to actually avoid this, you don't want this to happen whenever you are doing integer division, you have to use what we call truncation. So you have to truncate these to division. So the truncator sign is basically this, and then with a decimal, with a division sign, this will kind of truncate this to return a whole number. So let's try this out again. So if I say 8 divided by 2 equals to, now this gives me the whole number, because it's kind of like truncating the other remainder out of the equation. Yeah, so that's it so far. And if you take a look, it's actually returning return type is actually giving us, let me see, let's show this again. Okay, yeah, the return type is still double, but we are truncating it, so return. Okay, this is basically for this. I'm messing this up, but we are truncating this to return an integer for integer divisions. We don't want the decimal parts. That's another way to actually do this. So you can actually wrap this. So like I already showed here, yeah, you can do this. This is one way to do it. It's going to return the other path, and we're going to return an integer. Another way to do that is to use the truncate. Yeah, the truncate function on these two divisions. So if you wrap it with a truncate function and truncate them, so we're still going to return the same stuff. So 8 divided by 2 is still going to give us 4, because we're using the truncate function, just truncate it. And that still work. There's another way for most of you that already know. You can use floor, and you can still use cell to actually return. So let's take a look. So I'm going to use floor right here. 8 divided by 2 is going to return 4 for using floor. We can use cell to also return a whole number. But the issue with using cell and floor, for that, basically cells, floor kind of like remove the decimal part, but cell kind of like converts it to the nearest whole number, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look at that. So I'm gonna say that cell, cell method. If you take a look over here, so go back to your API, that documentation API. So again, to get here, return the least integer that is not smaller than the number. So if you sell this 1.9, okay, yeah, cell returns the nearest, like I said, the nearest integer that is not smaller than the number. Yeah, so there we go. So 1.9, basically you're rounding it up. And also the same stuff with the same function around. You can actually use round for that. Round will also do the same. We round it up to the nearest integer. So yeah, but kind of like have to know which one you actually wanted to use, which one you're actually trying to use. But I think basically if you're trying to remove any decimal numbers from any division, I think it's best to actually use a truncate method. Either use this or either use the previous one where we use a truncate method. Yeah, I think that's it so far. Next stuff we are going to talk about right now is why I was able to fix this. And also if you take a look right now, so I'm going to show you guys something and explain why I'm doing this. So if you go ahead, because if had even we left this in the previous position, which is return this, and we are truncating it using this sign to truncate it, and that's a problem that we are going to fix, and I don't, most of you would have actually be able to guess the issue. The issue will be if I try to do 8 divided by 5, actually this division is going to have a remainder. It should actually come out in double, or like I say, in decimal places, but it's going to return this as an int. So this doesn't actually make sense to a normal user, because the user will be confused, because 8 divided by 5 is not going to return an integer, it's not going to return a whole number. So maybe the calculator is actually wrong, or it's not calculating properly. But yeah, so that's actually what you have to account for. So that's why using this method is not going to work for our our program. So that's why I found a way to actually do this better. Yeah, I found a way to actually do this better. So which is basically using the method I'm going to show you guys right now. So this is the method. So I'm going to explain what I'm doing right over here. So over here we created first of all, I'm checking to see. So first of all, whenever the user, we are trying to calculate the user number, whenever we check it to see if the sign that the user tapped on is a division sign, so we are going to do the division calculation inside this parentheses, or I would say inside this level of the code room. So first of all, I'm checking to see if the division between these two numbers is going to have a remainder. So I'm saying num1 remainder num2. Basically, this is actually saying num1 divided by num2, get the remainder of that division. So the remainder name actually kind of like confuses a bit, but I'm trying to tell you guys what that is trying to do in general. Yeah, I think that's it. So what, like I said, what we are doing there is, so it kind of checks this to see if this returns a remainder. If this returns a remainder, so we are going to check whatever is being returned. If it's greater than 0, so that means it's actually returning a remainder. But whatever is going to be returned, yeah, sorry. So whatever is going to be returned, if it's less than 0, that means this division doesn't have any remainder. If that is the case, we are going to check the long-term type of that particular two numbers. So we are checking to see the first number, the runtime type, if it's int, and the second number, the runtime type, if it's int, and the last three we are using this, so make sure that the remainder is false. So that means it doesn't have to return a remainder. Then we know that this is actually a calculation on two whole number that doesn't have a remainder. I don't know if you guys understood what I'm trying to say. So using this results here, this calculation of results here, we are trying to check to make sure that our calculation that we are doing is not going to have a remainder. If it's not going to have a remainder, we are going to truncate any possible decimal places from it and return the whole number. But if it's going to have a remainder, then we are going to use this method whereby we are going to pass in the two numbers and use a normal division sign on them, and then later on return a fixed decimal places, whereby we are saying that we don't want the decimal places to be bigger than 6 decimal places. So that's why we are using to string as fixed to return, maybe if you want 2 decimal places or 3 decimal places, but in this case we are saying as long as it doesn't get past 6 but return 6. Yeah, if it's more than 6, just truncate the whole stuff, return 6 decimal places for us. And then this is how we are able to do this. So if I go ahead and save this right now, and then we try this division again, 8 divided by 5, and then equal to, you are going to see 1.6. And if I'm to use my real calculator, if you also to use a real calculator, you are going to get the same stuff. So 8 divided by 6 on my real calculator is going to give me, let's see, okay, 8 divided by 5, yeah, it's going to give me 1.6. So my real calculator is actually right, and my our own calculator right here is actually right. So we are on a good path at the moment. So that's it. So this is how to actually, whenever, let's say we are doing a calculation for double, it's still going to work. So 8.2 divided by 2.2 is still going to give us this. If you count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's not going to be more than 6. So it always ends up this. Even if you do a double and a whole number divided by 2, it's still going to return a double, because a division of a double and a whole number should actually return you a double and not a whole number. So yeah, that's it so far. We are actually on the right path. So let's do some funny divisions here. So let's say 2 divided by 7. So you're going to see this. So that still works. So that's cool. We are on the right path. And the whole stuff works by returning the real, actually what is supposed to return on a real calculator. On my device, I'm using iOS calculator to actually verify this. So 2 divided by 7 you guys can actually take a look, see what that returns. So 2 divided by 7 is returning to 0.28571,429, but we are truncating the last other digit as long as it's not bigger than, as long as it's bigger than 6, we just forget the last digits. Yeah, so yeah, that still works. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I don't know if there's any other stuff we actually have to talk about apart from this, and then move on to let me take a look at what I have here. Okay, yeah, right now we'll be moving over to getting this to work with our state management. So like I said, I implemented a state management feature into the app whereby we don't need to be having all this same code repeated everywhere in our app, because if you take a look in the web, in the desktop version, you still see that we still have all this same code littered everywhere. So it doesn't make any sense to be repeating code everywhere. If you take a look down below, you're going to see the same functions that we're repeating, the same functions: summarize total, calculate total, get questions. So this doesn't look good. As a developer, we actually try to make sure that we get stuff to look actually be readable and understandable by other people that's going to work on our app later on. Yeah, and if you take a look on the web version, like I said, I actually formatted the web version to use the new state management. If you take a look at the web version, you see that we don't have any code anymore. We don't have any of those repeated codes. If you take a look, you're going to see that. See, we don't have any of that codes lying around. You can see that calculate total or whatever, which are seen here, summarize total, calculate total, which are also seen in the desktop version right here. You see the summarize total, and you also see this stuff showing up here. So yeah, we are not going to be using that. Like I said, we are going to clear everything up and then format our code. So if you take a look over here, this is what I call the calculator state. I'm using provider. You see I moved the whole questions to inside this particular file. The whole dummy questions is moved in here, and then we actually created we are using provider for our state management. So this change notifier is basically going to notify any subscriber that's subscribing to this state that something has changed for that particular variable they are actually monitoring, and then rebuild our Flutter tree widget, stuff like that here, and show us the new data we are expecting. So yeah, I moved the whole stuff in here, the whole variables that we have, and also move the whole functions that I can rename this to add text and other stuff. So this basically what this does, basically helps us to add stuff to the screen. So that's what I mean by add text. So it accepts a text and also accepts an icon. For the icons, we are talking about this division sign. So the way we are presenting the icon is by accepting an icon whenever the user taps on those icons, and then show that icons right here in a transition animation. But if it's a text, the same way you accept a text and show that text right here. So that's what this function is actually doing. And then we have another function we call clear text. Basically, when you tap on this part, this function get called to clear the whole text in the screen by clearing the array that holds all our calculations and other stuff. Set this calculated value, the whole calculated value, to 0, and set is calculated to false, meaning that we have to hide this calculated value, and then set the sign count to actually 0. That basically means because there's something that we implemented whereby if you take a look over here, if you tap on this signs, so it's adding these signs right here. That's because I haven't used this on the mobile. For if you take a look on the web, so on the web version, I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. So on the web version right here, I'm going to run this. I kind of like trying to figure out how we can actually run all this stuff at the same time instead of trying to kill this one to run this one. I think that's actually a way to do that. I've forgotten how to do that. The last time I could remember something similar was you have to create different profiles, run profile on VS Code to actually run different devices at the same time. I'm not too sure, but I'm going to check that out again. So yeah, so over here in our web, so let me show you something. So if you tap on this, you see nothing happens. It doesn't show up on the screen. So that's what I mean by, that's why we are using this sign count. This sign count is actually what is doing this whole work, making it possible that whenever you tap on the sign without nothing showing up on the screen, these signs will not show up until you tap a test. And whereby in our mobile, because we haven't implemented that, so if you tap on any of these signs, it shows up. So without tapping on any test. So this is actually a bad UI and bad functionality, and also bad user experience. Everything is bad. So yeah, that's what I fixed by using this right over here. And then next one is basically remove test. So this is actually a functionality that's being called whenever you tap on this delete button. So deleting a button, deleting any test by tapping on this delete button, we actually call this functionality for us. And next is calculate total. Whenever I want to calculate the total value that we have, that's basically whenever we tap on this gets called for us. And next is calculate percentage. Whenever I want to calculate the percentage of a number, when you tap on this gets called. This particular right here gets called in our own case, which is basically over here. Right now it's actually working on web, because this whole stuff have been implemented on web. Let's say percentage of this is this. Tapping on this, keep on giving you a percentage, but I think you guys can actually see an error. So this is actually overflowing on our screen, so we have to find a way to fix this. So one way to actually fix this is to use truncating, no, not truncating, to use rounding, or use to say that we always want to return at least 6 decimal places, not more than 6 decimal places, so that we don't have this overflow. But another way to solve this, still keep these numbers to be bigger as long as they want to be, is to use a scrollable widget on here, so that the user, when the number gets bigger, the user can be able to scroll through this. But I'm going to go ahead and basically go ahead and use the truncating method on it. But we are going to keep this up here for now. Later we are going to solve that issue. Yeah, but you guys already know what I'm trying to show you guys right here. So let's restart our app. Let's use some numbers that's not going to overflow. So let's say 2. You see that I keep on growing. So you see 2 raised to power e exponent 8. So that's actually cool, and we don't even need to do anything to get this precision sign right here. Kind of being calculated immediately by Flutter for us. I'm not the one calculating this. So yeah, that's a good sign. So we are good to go. So basically that's what this percentage function is doing right here. And the next function is num calculate, basically helping us to calculate depending on what the user typed in, if it's a multiplication or minus or plus or division. So this kind of like handles that for us. And next we have is the get input, basically help us to return the whole input on the screen. And summarize total. So the summarize total, you guys already know how that works, so I'm going to show you. So whenever I say 7 times 8 and tap on this again, it rounds this up to 7 times 8 and then adds the next multiplication sign to us. So I say 8 again, multiply, it rounds this up, and then add another multiplication sign at the back for us to actually continue our multiplication. So that's what this summarize total is all about. I don't know if the name makes sense, or if the name is actually reasonable to actually kind of like tell the other developers of what we are trying to do. I think there's better ways to actually name this much better. We can do more by naming it better, but for now we are going to just keep the name this way. Let's see if there's something we're actually missing. Yeah, I think this summarize total. Next is start game. So I move the game functions in here. So when you tap on this, it runs the whole code and kind of like evaluates whatever is in here for the game. So I think this is everything so far we have. So there's no other stuff we need to do than trying to port it to be used on mobile and also to be used on desktop. Like I said, right now it's already working on web. So we are already using the state management on web, so we have to put it on mobile and desktop. So let's close this and start and get back to work. I'm going to run this on mobile again. So just keep on changing the whole stuff. So basically run on mobile, and let's give it a time to actually load up. Okay, there we go. So we have this running on our mobile app. So what I actually need to do right now is to, like I said, port the whole stuff to use our state management. One way to do that, to start off, close this. Let's take a look on how we actually implemented this on web. On web, we are wrapping the whole return type on our build method with a consumer, that kind of like consumer of type calculator state, and it's a type of builder that builds other widgets, basically kind of like compiles the whole stuff. You can actually go much better, and instead of rebuilding this whole full screen widget, we could just make this to only work on, to only rebuild this, where is it, to rebuild the UI part, which is basically this part. Yeah, to rebuild the UI part and then leave other part of the screen. So that's another way to actually go. So the reason for doing that, so the reason why I'm actually telling you guys about this is to increase the performance, because try rebuilding this whole stuff doesn't make any sense. So that's why I'm saying you can actually go much further to rebuild only the path that we wanted to rebuild. But I'm adding this consumer rights here, and it's going to be building this screen depending on whenever this changes. So let's go ahead and use the same on our mobile. So this is our mobile file. I think we also need to delete whatever we have right here now. Well, this is going to throw some errors, but we don't care at the moment until we get the whole stuff done. So I'm also going to go down and delete whatever we have. And also, if you take a look at the model that we have here, I also moved the model out. I'm going to show you guys where I moved the model to, the models that we created. So the models, I moved it to this file called models. So we created a models file that houses our model, our question answered model. So that's it. So let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and delete all this stuff. Also, the game functionality, I'm going to delete it. So tap on this, delete the game functionality, because like I said, we already moved it out, so there's no need of leaving it out here. So delete that, we don't need it anymore. Go ahead and delete this other path that we have. Keep on deleting, keep on going. Let's be sure before we delete what we don't need to delete. So yeah, we delete the summarize function also, and the num calculate function, we delete that. Next, we delete the get inputs. What else do we need to delete? We are going to delete this functionality that's in here, but for now, before we do that, let's go straight up and start working our way down from the top. I'm gonna go ahead and save. So let's go ahead. So first of all, I'm going to wrap this with the builder method I talked about, or we could actually go one step further. Like I said, do this where we actually needed it to be done, which will be basically rebuilding this path, the column path. So I'm going to use this on column. Wrap this with a builder widget, and then change this builder to be of type consumer. And this will be from provider, and this is going to request us to change some stuff. I'm gonna copy this over also. Paste the code. You see the whole stuff is not changed, and we need to fix this path. That's where this comes in. So I'm going to copy most of the code from here. We don't need to be thinking about how to do that, so it's already done. Just copy it over and do this also over, get this over, then add that right somewhere here. Yeah, use that in place of this. Then this also we need to solve. Yeah, I think we are good to go. We don't need to change any other stuff. We go straight down, and then also for this function, the clear function, we're going to be using this for it. So I'm going to go straight down for where we implemented the clear function, delete whatever we have in there, replace it with this code. We are good to go. Do the same for percentage function, delete whatever we have inside the percentage function, replace it with this code also. Same. There you go. And next is basically to tackle the delete function. So the delete, which is this button, we already done this, so we need to work on this, the delete function. So I'm going to delete the whole code that we have in there. And then paste the code I'm going to copy for the delete. So here we go. Nice one. Next will be, so we don't need to do anything for the divide function. So we need to scroll down. Next we need to tackle will be basically in the equal to sign is what we need to do next. Yeah, so the equal to sign, the button right there. So I'm gonna copy this, replace the equal to sign, equal to sign. Yeah, so basically move whatever is in there, replace it with the function we just copied over. Do the same right here. Okay, so there we go. And next we need to work on okay, switch button, start game. So over here, what do we have? Switch button, start game. So I'm going to remove whatever we have here for the start game, replace it with what we have right here for starting the game. So paste that code right in there. And next will be open drawer. So let's see how we implemented that. So we still leave it the same way it is, just remove the if statement right there. Just keep on going down to see whatever we need to change. So the last stuff we need to do is in here. So this place where we are saying we are having this function, this button right there. So this is what we have to do the last changes. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this as it is all the way to this place. And use that right in here. So basically delete all this whole stuff all the way to here, then paste this. That's cool. And go ahead and save this also. And let's see whatever, if we are still missing any other stuff. yeah, I don't think we're missing any other stuff. So if we go ahead and save this, restart our app, you can actually see there's no problem. We're not having any bug or any stuff showing up here. So I just restarted the app. Let's test the whole functionality from the beginning to the end. So tap on this, so it's still working. Tap on this, the door is still working. Tap on the numbers are still working. Tap on clear, is still working. Tap on delete, so let's tap on delete. Okay, delete is not working for some reason. Okay, so we tapped on the delete function, but that stopped working. Okay, that's strange. The delete function should actually work, but we are having some issues right here. Let's just take a look on the web version. So the web is working, so let's don't make any mistake. Okay, change this, run debug mode. Yeah, because this should actually work, because the reason why this stopped working because we moved every whole stuff around. So it looks like we actually made a mistake somewhere, and this for some reason stopped working. So let's take a look over here and see if this works on web. Okay, this actually is not working on web also. So it triggers the same issues. That's not working. Interesting. Let's go back to mobile and fix that on mobile. I even thought I should actually fix that before, but looks like we didn't actually fix it, because that should be on the delete button. That should be this button right here, delete, which is basically remove all test, remove last all test. Yeah, that should be what it should be doing. For some reason it's not doing that. If I go ahead and tap on this again, try to delete, we get this error that basically index issue, range error, index invalid value, only valid values 0 and 1. Okay, so if you take a look at the function that's been called, which is remove last all test, basically we are calling get all inputs using this. And if you take a look, the desktop version we have here for the delete function, so for the delete function, still doing, you have to do the same. Yeah, check if index at index 1 is empty, if core this, else core this. So that's basically what this is doing here. Get on input. So let's take a look why this is actually failing right here. So let's go ahead and print this out. Basically trying to use print statement for our debugging. All inputs, wrap this with debugger. Okay, debug. So this will only run on debug mode and not on production mode. Go ahead and restart. So basically run 8 this, tap on this. So all inputs we are 8 9 bracket 8 9 in the bracket. That's not really what we are expecting. No. If our inputs is 1, our inputs is index 1, so we're trying to remove this, Oh, I see where we are actually doing the wrong stuff. So this is wrong. What we should actually be checking is not all inputs. So we're getting this wrong. So we are the one doing this the wrong way. What we should be checking is basically all tests. So I should be checking if all test is empty. Check if the index 1 is empty. So go ahead and set this to false. So if you go ahead and remove this right now, replace this with all test, get all test. If the index 1 is not equal to no, nope. So we could, one way to do this is to use I'm trying to think out loud, because what we're actually trying to check right here is to make sure that we are trying to set this sign count to 0 if the user have removed the sign here. If they want to replace the sign here with a different sign for the calculation, that's what we're trying to do right here. But doing this is going to get us the wrong stuff, because get all inputs is returning the whole stuff and concatenating it inside an array, which is not basically what we are trying to do. If you kind of like think in the logic in the business logic we're trying to go with, so that's not basically what we want to achieve. So what I'm going to do is to actually have something to revert back to. I'm going to go ahead and copy this whole stuff, all the way to here, or basically copy all the way to this path, and then comment these ones out, and then work with this. Yeah, so work with this. So this will be, we're going to check to see all test is greater than 1. Basically the length should be greater than 1. Dot length if dot length is less than 2, so if it's less than 2, that means we already have one item in the box. So if it's less than 2, then we can go ahead and do this, else keep on removing the last digits. So if you go ahead and restart this, let's give it a try. 795, delete. Okay, that still works. Okay, that's cool. Okay, yeah, that still works. So let's try again. So let's say 856 times. So if you tap on this, it's not going to work again. Keep on tapping on it, it's not going to work. So that's a good function. That's actually good business day stuff we want to get. And then 856 times 8, and the user decides that he doesn't want to do the multiplication again, he can decide to go back, delete, and then add another sign. But this doesn't work because we are trying to make sure that if it's supposed to set this back to 0, that's why we're getting this issue. So let's see, come on, come on. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to use a print statement in here to see what we're actually doing. Or test.length. Okay, let's start this, then try again. Then we go ahead and say multiplication, then this. Okay, this will not actually work. This will not work. Yeah, this will actually keep on throwing an error to us. Yeah, it won't work because we go ahead and say go ahead and delete this. Go ahead and delete the first one. Why is this not being called? This should actually be called. Remove last or test. The function should be called, and also likewise the print statement should be called, but for some reason that's not getting called. Because if you tap on this again, see there, we need to be printing this out. That should be from let's see the button that we're trying to work with. What's the button again? The delete button, which is this. Remove all tests. This right here. Okay, yeah, that's the function. Why is it not getting called? Okay, I think, yeah. Come on, what am I thinking before? Already know this. We have these conditions in here. Come on, that's what is actually stopping this. I'm gonna wrap this with a test to actually know which one is being called at the moment. Yeah, our test. Dot rent. Do the same in here, then rename this to 2. And if you go ahead and tap on this 89256 multiplied by 5647, right? Now let's try to delete this. You see the index or test index is 1, right? It's 1. If you go ahead and delete this again, we're saving code this first one. Delete this. Delete this. So right now we actually deleted a part where there is actually where there's a sign, but this is actually not calling the inner part to actually remove the sign counts. So we have to figure out how to notice that we are deleting the last sign digit in here. So that's what we have to do in here, because if you take a look how we actually be able to solve this previously, we actually calling this get all test. Wonder how we did this. Go to definition. Yeah, so over here we're getting this return test to calculate all the spreads, test to calculate okay, let's go our test. Not our test, not our test. Come on. Okay, get inputs. So since this is returning test to calculate, and if you head over in here and we are checking to see if all tests are strange, which is not going to work at all, So that doesn't make any sense. So let's see if we can actually revert back and still use the alt test stuff over here, function that we created, and then return this and see what's being called. So I'm going to say print all input one, all input length, and also we want to return all inputs. Okay guys, we are trying what I'm trying to do here is to actually figure out how to be able to notice when the sign right here has been deleted and when to revert the whole changes back. Because if you look at here, if you tap on this, it's going to break our code, because we didn't actually notice when the user was able to delete the sign. Because over here, let's say the user tapped this and tap signs and he was deleting this or stuff, we should know when they actually delete this sign right here and then do some calculation and revert the whole code, not to actually get our code messed up at the end. So that's what I'm trying to detect right here when the user did that. I want to copy this and use that in here. I'm going to say input 2 and then go ahead and save this. Then let's try again. So 8 9 times 5 6. If you go ahead and delete this, you see all input right here, we have 2 89 59 56, and we're not having any of this in there. And if you go ahead and delete this, it is still return that. Okay, yeah, that's it. But right now we're actually not trying to, it's still not dictating how this still works, how to figure out when the multiplication sign or any other sign is being removed from the screen. Think. Let's see. So we already have if this is 1 in the screen, obviously if it's 1 in this array, so we can actually say that the text has been removed because we are calling get alt text. We get alt text. Okay, if nothing in there, return this. But if there's nothing, return the other way around. Split by this. Let's use this for now. Okay, so let's use this method. I had another method in mind right now, and I'm going to call that method, that's called all math. We're just trying to see how to get all this to work. So let's go ahead and save this and then delete this. So I'm going to say 89 times 56, then tap on this. Okay, it's going to return 8956 to us. We should actually return if the text is equals to this. Basically return, if it's empty, basically return this, else basically return this. But the test path for add to test and the test we are receiving from here, if you go back to the main calculator app that we created, the main calculator file where we are calling the add to test functionality, we are adding this in it for icons. And if you go back to the calculator state, this is actually becoming more of a headache right now to figure this out. Go back here. Okay, I'm saying if this is equals to this, return this. what if I say if this is equals to this, return sign. So that's for all maths. Okay, let's go ahead and delete this. Try this again. Delete. You see, it's returning the sign parameter to us, so you can actually see that showing up right here. And if we go ahead and spread that by spacings, let's see what that is going to return. Let's say we spread the whole stuff by a space, like what we actually did here. So spread this by a space and then tell us what you got. Okay, let's go again. Then delete this. This splitting this by space is kind of like giving us one particular whole big array, but that's not what we're trying to get. So let's split it with this. I'll try this again. And it's going to split this all to different characters. Okay, still not what we are trying to achieve. Let's say we split by sign. Okay, delete. Now it's returning to input to us. Basically now this, yeah, not what we're trying to get to. Not this, not this. Okay, let's give this a space, and also over here give this a space. Save this. Then over here, instead of splitting, let's say split by space. And then tap on this. Okay, there we go. That worked. So we're able to get this printed out to the screen. So we are splitting by spaces, and I'm going to check at index 1 if the index 1 is not matching to what we have right here. So I will know that the user have deleted the sign language, the sign in here. Then we're going to revert the whole stuff that we have in here. So let's try this out. So right now we have test to calculate. We still have to need to clean up this. So after the whole stuff we are doing here, trying to get this to work, we still need to clean up this space right here, this function body, to actually look clean. So I'm going to say right over here, remove this entirely. I'm going to say test to calculate at index 1. No, not that. At index 1, because this is going to throw an error if the user removes the index itself. Come on. Let's look at weight. Is less than. If it's less than 2, length, because the length should give us 1, 2, 3. So there should be 3 items in there. And if the length is less than 2, so that means the sign language has been removed. So that's when we get this code. So if we go ahead and try this out, so let's go ahead and tap this again. So delete this. So this get code. So right now we have 3 items in the array, which is the 89, then the multiplication sign, and the 58. Then if you call this again, now this is still the same, and last, or if you call this for the second time, now we have this empty. If you call this again, now that is empty. And if you go ahead and call let's say multiplication, now that's working. So you should add the multiplication sign and keep on multiplying. Then if you go ahead and call this delete, so give us 3, delete again, then delete again, then you can still add another. Okay, this messed up right now. It should actually work, but for some reason it cannot like stop working. So let's figure out where the bug is coming from. Come on. Come on, let's see. We actually needed to finish this up. Have a whole lot of stuff to actually work on. Come on, we have test to calculate the length. If the length is less than 2, nope. Yeah, let's try this. 7, 5 minus 6, 5, 6. Then tap on this. Okay, tap again, then go back and add another sign, so this still breaks this off. Let's give this another try. So I have 3, 2, 5. This is gonna be a long day, almost 1 hour plus without actually trying to get this to work. So 3 minus 5, 6. Then go ahead and delete this. Delete again. Okay, so delete again. Okay, now it does give us an error. And so I'm gonna try this again. If this doesn't work this time around, we're going to leave it for the next time and then focus on any other stuff that I wanted also to do today, but can keep on going on like this. So let's go ahead and try this again. So over here, let's say we have this, then delete. Okay, let's add a sign, then go ahead and delete this. Still 3. So this is still 3, so go ahead and delete this. The rent, Okay. 1, 2, 3. This is strange. Why is it saying that this is actually 3? Or it's not? Minus times 32, so go ahead and delete this. Okay, the rent is 3. Yeah, the rent is still 3, which is true, because we have 3 items inside the list. If you go ahead and delete this, the length shouldn't be 3 anymore, but it's kind of still showing us that the length is 3. So that's what's strange right here. That's what is not right. Okay, basically we're going to leave this for now. I'm going to figure this out later on. So we're going to just, I think it might be something that a bit small that actually needs to fix, but I just need to get my head in order to able to figure that out, not to kind of keep on going into the rabbit hole right here. So we're going to go ahead and fix other stuff. So I think that's what's remaining right here to actually complete the whole calculator app and the whole game, because the game itself is already completed because the game is playing. So you have the game playing in the app also, because I know the first question should be 8. No. Okay, the first question should be 8 times 8. Should give us 64. So formula of calculate the area of a square, and then it will show us the answer. So I got the answer right, and it asked me the second question. So if I don't complete it on time, it will tell me that okay, that I got the answer wrong in 5 seconds. So yeah, so the game is actually working. Then if you want to cancel the game, just tap on this, the game will get cancelled. So that's for the game part. But like I said, we need to be able to allow the user to add their own games right in here. So inside here, I'm going to add an input field, something like I'm going to add an input field at the top right here. Yeah, so that user can be able to add any other stuff they want, like let's say the test. Let's say they want to add a game, the title of the game, the value of the game, and the number value of the game. So we need 3 test inputs inside here or outside here. So we need to just work on that right now. So let's see what we could be able to do before we hit the limit for today's streaming. So it's almost an hour plus, and we haven't kind of like completed most of the stuff we set out to do. So over here in the main calculator app, I'm going to create a test input inside a drawer. So the test input will be, actually should we be in here? Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, it should be somewhere. Okay. We have test item 1, list style, and other stuff. So using drawable header and so drawable. Okay, and we have a list style. Under this, I'm going to add a test input, or above this, I'm going to add a test input. Say test input. Oh, come on. Don't tell me you're forgetting what this is being called. Not a form validation. Come on. This should be, come on, test form. Yeah, test field, not test form. So I'm looking for test field. And it should be made constant at the moment. in there we need to do some decorations. So if you are doing some decorations, you have to remove the constant value and add that. No. Should make the parents a constant and then remove the constant from the children. So that will solve the issue that we're having. Then go ahead and so you guys, I don't know if you guys understood what we did here. So basically we have all this. This was basically a constant before, and this is actually a constant. Instead of making it a constant, it's better you make the parent a constant, because none of these children will be changing until you have a child property that will be changing. Then you need to remove the constant from the parent. Then I'm going to remove this. Wait a second. Okay, then I'm gonna have an input, input decoration. There you go. And you can actually still go the same way, like I said, remove the constant from here. So can I make the parent a constant? Or is this going to throw an error because this already has constant values? And then okay, the function cannot be a constant to return, so we need to remove the constant from the parent and put the constant to the where it's supposed to be. So there we go. So I'm going to save this. So the input field we added, so yes, there we go. So here's our first input field, and it's not kind of like visible at the moment, not really visible. And if you tap outside, the keyboard is still up there, so we need to fix that. We just need to be able to tap outside and keyboard should go away. One way to actually do that is to wrap this inside gesture dictator and remove the focus on it. So I'm going to say gesture detector and untap. So whenever there's an untap, I'm going to remove a focus on the node by unfocusing it. So if you save that right away, there you go. So let's restart this again and tap over here, tap outside, tap in there, tap outside. So this is actually causing an issue at the moment. So I have the scaffold. Because this is actually causing an issue at the screen, because right now if you go ahead and do that, so let's remove this and see if we can actually add that. But the layer, okay, let's try this. Let's see. So we have the scaffold, drawer, list view showing up there. And again we have we want to be able to dismiss the tap gesture that we received on the parent view, because that's what we are trying to do. I don't think this makes any sense here. Okay, let's show this. Okay, this shows up the same error again. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. Pretty sure that's because we added this input field right there and not our gesture detector. So if you try that again, tap over here and close this out, bottom overflowed. And if the bottom is actually overflowing, on doing that, so I can actually use resize to avoid insects. Set that to true. If you go ahead and save that, then tap on this again. Okay, we're still receiving the same bottom overflowed. Okay, this is for the main calculator web. Now we're trying to reset, avoid. Okay, yeah, that worked. Okay, yeah, I think we messed it up because the default value is true, so I need to set it to false. Come on, think. Yeah, the default value was true, so we need to set it to false to actually be able to work. Because if we tap on this, so this pulls up and we're no longer seeing the bottom insect overflowed, and that's because I will set this to be false instead of true. And yeah, that's cool. So we can actually have the input field showing up here, and now the user can be able to type whatever they want to type in there. Let's say username, not a username, question one. So we can say name that to be question. So we should give it a name. So instead of username, we say question title. So say question. Okay, I'm spelling the question in the wrong way, so I should say question title. And next we have another input field that should have the question answer. We call this question answer. And last but not the least is another input field we should call, say, question answer. Yeah, so the user should have a way to add the question answer as a text and the question answer as a normal value. And if you look over, you see that this text right here is actually not visible enough to the user, so we need to actually change that. So how to do that is to use label style, which is a text style, using a text style. And I'm going to set the color to be black, and you can actually see the text is now visible. And you can set the font size to be, let's say 13, or let's say 15. I know this is going to be too big. Okay, that's too small. Set it to 18. What about 19? Okay, let's give it a 24. Yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah, question title and question answer. So we still copy this over to the rest of the input. You know, it would have been actually great if you just convert this whole input to reusable for widgets. Then I think that would be okay than actually creating the designs for each and every one of them one at a time. So for some reason it looks like we skipped something. So question answer has, okay, question title, question answer, font size 24, question, okay. Okay, yeah, that's working. So question answer 2, question answer number form. Yeah, so question answer number form. Okay, and let's call that question answer 2. I think that should work. I think that's it so far. So next is basically allow the user to enter the questions they want to be asked, and then we are going to ask them that particular question. And whenever they enter a question and hit the enter key, maybe a save key, we should be able to show them the questions maybe underneath this stuff right here also. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm gonna add is a button right here, but I'm currently going to use a test button or Flutter raised button, or we can actually create our own custom button. I don't know what you guys think, but I think we can just go ahead and create our own custom button. So I'm going to use container. Inside the container, I'm going to use say the height. Let's leave the height. Let's add a child property, and I'm going to set the child to be a test, and test field, and the test is going to say add, basically add question. I think that's cool. And inside the test, we're going to have some styling, basically using the test style property, and we need to set this to constant at the moment. No, we don't need to set it to constant. Yep, okay, so there we go. So I'm going to add some breaking commas here to format our code. So in Flutter, if you want to actually format your line of code, you need to add a comma, the breaking commas to the end of each of these brackets. And this, the reason why this is showing a red line is because it's kind of like requires us to add a color property or a height. So if you go ahead and add a color property right here, you see the red line goes out, and yeah, so that's one way to actually fix that. And I'm not going to add a color property direct. I'm going to use decoration, and I'm going to use box decoration. And inside the box decoration, do I need to make this constant at the moment? And I'm going to set the color to be the real color that we're using here. If you could remember, we added that color somewhere in our app, so I'm going to go ahead and copy it because I'm very good at copying. So go ahead and copy this right here. I think where okay, I'm a bit confused right now. So where do we did actually add the color? So I thought we actually did add the color somewhere. Okay, yeah, there we go. So just copy this over and head over to the main.dat file, because that's what we are doing the whole stuff at the moment. I'm going to change the color from blue to what we have right this. So take a look over here, let's see what we're doing. So go ahead and save that, and you can actually see the button showing up here, but we don't want it to take the full width of the available space. So I'm going to set this to use basically going to say max constraints. That should be box constraints, right? And set a box constraints, I'm going to say max width, not height. Max width. I'm going to make this to be constant to 100 for some reason. So set the width to be 200, and also save that. What about 100? Okay, this is still taking the parent size. Let's see, width, height. Now the height is going to be work, but the width is still taking the parent size. We need to actually create that. We want to give it a maximum width to be 100. For some reason, that's not working. Let's see. Think. How do we achieve this right now? since we don't want the parent, we don't want it to take the full width, the full available width of the parent. Minimum width is 0.0, max width x max width is this, and then we could actually say I don't want to use margin on both ends, so that doesn't make any sense to use margin. Fractionally sized box, no, that's not going to work in here. So let's take a look at this. Move up, move down, remove widgets. Let's try using center. Okay, so center widget worked, but we need to fix some stuff. That's because we gave it a max height, a max width of 10. So let's say max width should be 100. Set this to 100. Come on. Yeah, but that's still not it. So let's keep increasing it to bit. Let's say 150. What about 160 or 170? Okay, that worked. And then we need to add a padding around the whole stuff. So I'm gonna add a padding around it. So I'm gonna say that should be up here. Yeah, padding should be up here. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I made a mistake. That should be padding. I'm not going to use padding dot, or I'm going to use padding dot vertical or symmetric. Yeah, padding dot vertical. The vertical, I'm going to set this to that. And then vertical basically means at this vertical axis. The horizontal means at this horizontal axis. So if you save this, you're going to see from the top we added that, from the left and right he added 10, but for some reason it's kind of like shrinking this down to actually fit in. So I'm going to reduce the text size, set that to 14. I think that should be okay. And text align, I think that's actually a text align if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that should be text align, and text align should say text align dot center. So there we go, text align dot center. So it positioned the text in the middle of the parent. And next we need to add a border radius. So border radius is still inside the decoration box that we're going to do that. So I'm going to say border radius. So that's actually completes the code for us. So this is how to add the border radius. So border radius dot 10. So there we go. And this, we can actually leave the text this color. I think that's okay. We can actually make the text white instead of dark color. I think that would make sense to actually use a white color on the text. So I'm going to say text color. That should be colors dot white. So if you go ahead and save that, now the text is now white, the color becomes white. So I think that's it. So right now, if the user taps in any of these, asks any questions in your question answer 2, and then hit on this button, they should be able to actually register the user in. So yeah, you should be able to register the user's question and clear the screen and remove this keyboard. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm basically going to say when the user taps on any of these input, submit the input to us. So basically going to say unchange. I think is unchange. Yeah, unchange, unsubmitted, on editing complete, on tap, on read only. So let's use unchange. So unchange function in there. Basically, what do we want to do? We want to actually be able to get the test title, the test answer, and also the test answer 2, and submit that back to our main calculator state. Inside our main calculator state, we should have variables that should be keeping track of those values. So to do that, I'm basically going to say right in here, I'm going to say so there's going to be a string. Is that needed? So that's actually a good question to ask. Yeah, so let's go. So this is going to be a string, and I'm going to say question, and I need to make this a private. So question title, add another custom question title is empty. Custom question answer, we have custom question answer value, which is going to be a number. Go ahead and save that. Next, basically I have a setter right here that we can use to actually change them. I can actually do the setter below them right here. I'm going to say set custom question this to be equals to rate modifier. So adding a rate modifier in there, just remove the final keyword entirely, and also that's basically the setter for that. Add another setter. We don't need a getter. Setter for for the custom question answer, and make this to be final. Remove the final keyword, and that gets solved. And next is going to be set question value. So remove this from being final and left that right that. So I'm going to save this. There you go. And next but not the so we'll already be able to get hold of the questions that we want to add for the user. I'm not too sure. I don't know what you guys think, if it's actually a good UI design to leave this in here, or we should create a separate screen where the user could actually navigate to a separate screen and do this stuff, or just leave it at the navigation, the drawer bar or navigation bar. So for now I'm going to leave it there. Later on we can actually change it and move it around anywhere we want, but yeah, let's leave it there for now. I'm kind of like trying to fix the whole stuff. So we got this working. We got this playing out. So the next stuff we actually want to do is to go ahead and get hold of these values. So I'm going to say in here, when the user is making changes right in here, I'm going to call onChange, which is a function, and the function is going to call context dot. If you guys could still remember how we are calling the functions for that class, so this is how we are calling it. Context dot question custom question title should be value is equals to value. For some reason, because we made this to be a constant, we need to change that and then make this to be a constant, so that fixes the issue that we're having. I think that should be it. So the question title should be a type input. The input keyboard should be the keyboard input, not inside there, that should be keyboard type, and that should be from test input type. So we are using test input type. We're setting that to be a test. The type should be test, because this already allow with test. The second one will also allow with test. Then if you just copy the whole stuff and just make the changes back on again instead of doing this. Right, okay, let's copy that and use that in place of what we have here and do some tweak on it. There you go. So I'm going to call this instead of question title, I'm going to say question answer. Then this will be custom question answer, custom question answer. There you go. And this should be type of test input to be test. Okay. So the last but not the least, the last input test in there, which is basically this, should be replaced also. Let's say answer 2, which is just be of type number keyboard input. Save that, and this will be used right in here. Yeah, so we are going to use right in here. Replace this equals to this is going to return a string. So this is going to return a string. I'm going to pass that as a double. So I'm going to say double dot pass var. Okay, that worked. So go ahead and save that. And last but not the least is basically this. This stuff we have right in here. Let me see. Yeah, the test input, the button. So I'm gonna wrap the button, the center button inside ejection. Come on, what did I do? Wrap the center button inside ejection detector. Okay, I'm gonna say on top. When the user taps on this, we need to actually make sure that these whole variable values are not empty before we do any other stuff. So that's why I'm going to create a new function right over here. I'm going to call that void add new questions. Okay, all right, so let's see what we need to do. First of all, we already have a question. We already have a dummy question. So does that mean that we have to clear out the whole dummy question and start adding a question in there? That's not true. So what it means, what we need to do right now is basically to be able to create another list right here. List of type, not custom animated tests. So list of type questions, question, yeah, like this. And I'm going to call that to be custom user questions. Yeah, there you go. So that's what we'll be updating whenever the user wants to add a new question. And with the function I created right below here. So first of all, I'm going to check if the input fields that we have is not empty. So I'm going to say custom question answer. Yeah, it's not empty. And custom question title is not empty. Okay, now we're having an issue right now. Custom question title dot is not empty, and underscore custom question answer value dot so we have to make sure that this is not empty also, because it started out being let's see 0.0. It's not 0. It's not equals to 0.0. There we go. Leave that at that. If those are true, what we need to do is to head inside here and then call yeah, we already have that suggested to us. So this is the function that we need to call. So that will be custom user questions that add question, the question title, the question answer, and the question answer value. And once we add all those stuff and after adding that, so basically go ahead and unfocus the keyboard. Okay, give me a second. Just give me a second, guys. Let me see. I'm almost confused on what I'm trying to do right now. Yeah, let's try this. So doing that way around, suggestion detector on tab. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. So you can tap outside, tap in there, tap outside, tap in there, it goes away. Okay, that's cool. Let's see. Okay, so we already have this button that we can actually tap on to add a test, and once we tap on it to add a test, we actually have to want to show the user whatever is in here, the equations right below here. But I don't know if you can actually do that at the moment, but let's see what time we still have. It's almost 1 hour plus, almost 2 hours, going to 2 hours. But let's see if we can do kind of like show a user one particular question that's been typed. So let's try doing that. What I'm going to do is to get hold of the questions in here and then show one. Okay, let's see, still need consumer for that. Come on. Okay, let's try this. Okay, right in here, I'm gonna say this read.get. So have a get function to get us this array right here. So I'm gonna say get custom questions, returns the custom questions for us. And then I'm gonna say at index 0, that at index 0 should be returning a question variable. That should be the test. Okay, so once we save that, head over here, let's go ahead and return what I have right in there, but this has to be non-constant value, so I can actually be able to see that work. Okay, so index 0 is empty, so that's why we're getting that having that issue. So index 0 is empty. To fix that, I'm going to say if this is null, go ahead and show the user this. But say okay, we're still going to have that same issue because this is actually no. What if I know what to do. So we can actually go in here, the get function that we have here. I'm going to create another get function, get question 1, just for testing. It's going to return this. Going to be if this dot is not empty. If it's true, we're going to return at index 1, else go ahead and return so I'm going to say dot question, else return an empty field. And then if I do that, save this, then use that in place of whatever we have here, just to kind of like escape this null value, null issue that we're having. Should be from that goes away. Okay, let's try this. So I'm gonna say was area, answer. I'm gonna say 25 cm, and then answer I'm gonna say 25. So go ahead and hit on this. Okay, so in that case, let's close this and open this back up again. Okay, we are the one actually doing this wrong. So this should actually be able to call the function to add that question, add custom question, which is coming from here, add new questions, okay. So let's go ahead again. Was it again? Was area, and I'm gonna say 25 cm, and question answer 2, I'm gonna say 25. Oh, come on. Was area, answer 25 cm, like I said. Question answer 2, I'm gonna say 25. Then tap on this. She cannot give it a kind of indication that we're tapping on it, but we haven't added any animation yet to actually tell the user that this has been tapped on. So since we haven't added any animation, let's keep trying this. So yeah, we kind of like was area, so that's showing up. So you actually see that. So right now the user can open this up and see the questions that they added. So we added the first question, which is was area, and we are showing that up, showing that at the under the question input fields. But so that's it for today. So basically I just wanted you guys to show how we could be able to add custom questions, but so far we haven't actually explored it that much. We are just able to add questions, answers, and all those stuff. We should be able to show the users those questions. They tap on it, they can view it outside, what the questions are about and the answers. That's the next stuff we could actually be working on. But for today we'll just be stopping here, trying not to get up to 2 hours of stream. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, like I said, we'll be stopping here for today. We cannot accomplish a lot, except the place where we're having this issue of deleting text and knowing when we are deleting signs. I'm going to kind of like look into this, and tomorrow, possibly tomorrow, I should be able to show you guys how to solve that particular issues, and then what else will be waiting for us in our app, and what else we'll be doing from tomorrow onwards. So guys, if you really enjoyed the stream, I know kind of like it's quite big, today's stream is quite big. Try to just subscribe to the channel, hit the subscription button and also the notification bell button. Basically I've been trying not to stream too long, because some people kind of like don't like watching videos that are too long. If yeah, so I'm not trying to stream too long these days, but I'll keep on trying to limit it at least 1 hour or 1 hour 20 minutes. But with today we'll stream almost 2 hours. So that's it, guys. Have a nice day. See you guys tomorrow, and let me know what you think in the comment section. What you think we should improve. Like, my question is that, do you guys want this to be here, or do you want us to move this out and move it into a separate screen for the user to be able to add their questions and all those stuff? I think that should be much better than leaving it all the way in here. So I don't know what you guys think, but just let me know. So yeah, I think that's it. See you guys next time, and everyone have a nice day.